As I was stating in my other video, all of these religions, especially the three major religions, they all equate back to Saturn, which is the entity we know as Michael. Now, when I did the gematria and when I typed in Michael, I got 89 in ALW Kabbalah. And when I typed in Saturn, I got 89 in KFW Kabbalah. I think this is a quote-unquote coincidence, then I got some more quote-unquote coincidence. Now, when I typed in Saturn worship, I got 79 in Jewish reduction. And when I typed in Christian, I got 97 in Jewish ordinance. You also had 153 in ALW Kabbalah and 135 in KFW Kabbalah.
Know that NASA, they launched a rocket called the Saturn V rocket or the Saturn V rocket up to our moon. They did this 13 times between 1966 and 1973. So we had the Saturn V or Saturn V rocket going to the moon. So now another weird thing is when you look at one of Saturn's moons called Iapetus. Iapetus is believed by NASA and other scientists to be an artificial moon. They basically believe that it was constructed, that somebody built it. Now that's crazy. Also, a lot of scientists and researchers believe that our moon is not a natural satellite, that it is a construct, that somebody built it. Now, the whole thing is, when you look at Iapetus and when you look at the Death Star from Star Wars, they look exactly alike. It's weird. The whole thing is Star Wars didn't come out until 1977. And they didn't go to Saturn until 1979 when Pioneer 11 took those first photos of Saturn. So how did George Lucas, how did those designers know exactly what Iapetus looked like, and how did they design the Death Star to look exactly like it? Remember in the Star Wars movie, when they come out of hyperspace, when they come out of the warp drive or whatever, they say, hey, what is that moon there? And they say, it's not a moon, it's a spaceship. So, how did he know? When you look at the whole symbolism, when you look at Star Wars, we can see that most of the things in it corresponds to Freemasonry and corresponds to Saturn. So now when you look up the definition of moon, you will find Earth's natural satellite. What is a natural satellite? A satellite is an object, an artificial object that has been intentionally placed in space. So a natural satellite would basically be a natural artificial satellite that has been intentionally placed in space. It don't matter that they put the word natural there. It still doesn't take away from what a satellite is. It is an artificial object. But what do satellites do? They send and receive signals. They bounce signals. So to call our moon a satellite means what? It must be receiving some kind of signal or sending some kind of signal. But from where? Saturn. And you have to understand it's one of the biggest things I'm going to be showing you in this video. It sounds crazy, I understand, but that's going to make a lot of sense. But what is the signal that it's sending? What are we receiving here on Earth? We are receiving time. Remember, Kronos is the god of time. Father Time is Kronos. How are they controlling this world? With time. Without time, you do not die. Time is the reason why everything dies. Plain and simple, it's no escaping time. Now remember, there is laws to reality. Reality has laws. There is no law that governs time. It is the only thing that escapes the law of reality. You have duality in everything else except time. And there's a reason for that, because time is artificial. You have to understand that. You have good, evil, darkness, light, time, and what? You can't reverse time. You can't retract time. You can't reverse the aging process. Time escapes the laws of reality, which means it is artificial, and you have to understand that. You have to really get that in your head. It's time. I know it sounds crazy, but it's going to make a lot of sense as we go along. So now, what exactly is coming from Saturn? Let's take a look.
Astronomers have found one ring to rule them all, not in the land of Mordor, but around Saturn, our solar system's Lord of the Rings. In a patch of sky pretty far out from Saturn itself, Spitzer detected this telltale band of infrared light. While the image covers only a small area, it reveals a segment of something much bigger. The largest ring ever seen around Saturn or any other planet. How could such a large ring remain a secret for so long? While it is huge, the ring is insubstantial. Its diffuse particles are dark and reflect very little visible light. You could compare it to Tolkien's story of the Lord of the Rings. The Elvish script identifying the One Ring of Sauron only becomes visible when it's heated in fire. This largest ring of Saturn was only discovered from the glow of its heat in the infrared.
So now understand, our moon is picking up what Saturn is putting out, and it is basically broadcasting it to Earth. It is creating time. Time changes our reality. It changes our perception of reality. Now listen, this is the seal of Saturn. Now what is a seal? A seal is designed to keep things in, to keep things trapped. Now, you've seen this seal before. It looks like your Bluetooth logo. Now, with Bluetooth, I can send you something, a message wirelessly. I can send you a file wirelessly to your phone or to your computer or tablet. So you see this seal everywhere. You see this seal of Saturn all over the place. When you look at communications towers, I mean, look at them. What are communication towers designed to do? Broadcast things, to send signals, to bounce signals. So when you look at these towers, we can see the seal of Saturn in a lot of things. You can find it in gates. You can find it all over the place. This is what it's talking about. It's the seal. It is time. Time controls everything. Remember, back in the garden, what did God want to do? He wanted control. If you want to control people, time is the way to do it. Now, if you've seen the movie They Live with Roddy Piper, I talked about this in a previous video. Now, in that movie, it's basically about these aliens or these beings controlling Earth. Now, they put subliminal messages everywhere, messages telling people to obey. That's where we get the whole t-shirts and the hats that people wear now saying obey, comes from that movie. Now, in that movie, unless you have these glasses, you can't see what they look like, you can't see who they are, you can't see what they are doing. So Roddy Piper gets a hold of these glasses and he finds out what's going on. Now remember, at the end of that movie, he goes and he destroys the satellite. Now when he destroys the satellite, what happens? Everybody can see, reality as it is. They can see what's going on. They can see the people and what they look like. So now that whole thing is basically a parable. It's a metaphor for what happened if you destroy the moon. Now, when you go back and you look at how many movies, I mean,